had to grab my cat because she won't stop meowing, sorry. Hey, what's up guys? It's Micah. Today we're going to be doing our convention survival guide for all of you beginner cosplayers and new con goers. I'm going to apologize in advance if you can hear my fan running. It's really hot in my house, so we don't have AC, so. Before we get into our con survival guide, I do want to talk about something I have talked about before, but really do enjoy and want to talk about again. And that is Amino apps. Amino is a social media app where people can create and share content on a variety of different topics. It all just depends on what you're into. Their best feature is their stories. These are like stories on other social media, except they're way more interactive, they're categorized by topic, and they don't disappear from your page, so you can always go back and see them again. If you go up into the search bar and hit the topics tag, you can look up things that interest you. This is a great way of finding stories that pertain to things that fit in your interests. I looked up wig styling and learned some really great tips from creators. Just like other social media, you can like and comment on people's posts, and also follow them and hit the notification bell so you can always see when they post. Speaking of follow, either follow the link in the description, or in the search bar on Amino, type in Micah, the ID is Valesti, and make sure to follow me and hit the notification bell. I hope you'll continue to support me and my smaller videos over on Amino as well as on here. So, I know a lot of you guys are super new into like cosplay and conventions, and a lot of you just don't know what to do when you get to a con. Like, the big picture sounds super great, super easy, but then when you actually get there, you just kind of don't know what to do. I remember my first convention walking in going, what do I do? But I have been attending conventions several times a year for 6 years now, so I think I've gotten like the con life down to a T. Cons always seem scary, but there's lots of things you can do to make the whole thing easier for yourself and reduce stress and make the experience like the best one it can possibly be. What a lot of people don't realize is that before you even get to the con, there's tons of things to do to make sure everything goes as smoothly as possible. And the first one is packing properly. I don't know how many times I have gotten to a convention and realized I've forgotten maybe half of a cosplay or a full cosplay. That has happened before. I've forgotten wigs, I've forgotten makeup pieces, I've forgotten just pieces of cosplay, I've forgotten shoes, all sorts of different things. And sometimes you can just run to a store and grab something, but a lot of times you can't. So the first proper thing to do is always make sure you pack properly. I will tell you some different ways to ease packing and make it more efficient and save you space. Always make a list for everything you need to bring. Make this days in advance. You know, you already probably know what cosplays you're going to be bringing to this convention. So what I like to do is, either on a piece of paper or on Google spreadsheets or something like that, I list every single character that I will be cosplaying. And then under each character, I start listing off every single little thing that cosplay has. Belts, gloves, shirt, does it have a jacket? Do I need specific shoes with it? Do I need specific undergarments to go with it? Do I need tights with it? You know, what wig do I need to bring? What contacts? Is there a specific makeup item that I don't normally have in my normal makeup bag that I need to make sure I bring, like liquid latex, face paint, anything like that? Even if you think you won't forget it, put it down on the list, and do that for every single character you have. Then I make another little column of makeup items I want to bring and make sure that I have and don't forget, and then basic clothes, necessities, things I need like medications, you know, make sure I actually bring regular clothes because I have forgotten pajamas so many times, and I've slept in cosplays because I had nothing else. You know, do you need to bring a hot glue gun with you? Do you need to bring, you know, an extra pair of shoes? Do you need to bring something for somebody else, you know, that they're borrowing, you know? Write it all down. Then when you get to the actual packing, for one, I highly recommend you get vacuum seal bags. This is going to save you space. They are in like where you buy like laundry baskets in like Walmart or Target. And you can get ones that you roll the air out. They're super easy to use. They're not very expensive. You can put quite a bit of stuff in them, and it's going to save you so much space, and you can organize really well. So then when you get to packing, I like to start cosplay by cosplay. That way I can keep all the clothing items kind of together and in one bag if I'm using my vacuum bags, or just in one area so I'm not constantly digging through my suitcase at con trying to find one specific item of clothing. I don't remember when I stuck it in the bag. And then as you put things into the suitcase, check it off your list. Just make sure you check everything off. I will not put the next thing into the bag until I have checked it off. That way I make sure everything gets in the bag and I know I have absolutely everything I need with me. The next thing I super make sure to have is like some sort of first aid kit. When I say first aid kit, I typically mean I have a Ziploc baggie full of a bunch of things I might need, or just items here and there throughout my bag. Things like I bring a full bottle of ibuprofen. I started bringing like airborne or immune booster tabs with me because you're constantly around a lot of people and I get sick really easily at conventions. So I started bringing those. Band-aids, antiseptic, feminine products for my friends if they need them. I bring, you know, anything that could be useful, if not for me, for someone else. Allergy medication. Don't ever forget allergy medication, because somebody like me who's allergic to a bunch of stuff could really, really, really use it. Even if it's just something as much as a stuffy nose, no one should have to suffer through con if they don't have to. You know, make sure you bring all of that stuff. A lot of people don't think to bring these things. I like to be prepared for other people, even if it's not something I think I'll ever need. But, you know, you never know when somebody else is going to need it, and it's always good to have on hand. I also go pre-con grocery shopping. I either do this at home, at the store before I even leave for the convention, or once I get to the convention hotel if I drove there, or if one of my friends drove there, if we happen to be able to go to the store or walk to the store and just get some things we need. That's what we do. I always recommend getting a pack of water if you don't already have reusable water bottles, you know, and we get snacks to keep in the room. And I don't mean junk food snacks. You can have some of those too. I do like to get myself some chips, but things like cereal, granola, if we know we have a microwave, we'll bring things we can microwave, like soups and stuff like that. You know, get yourself some sandwich making stuff. Like, you could get peanut butter and bread and keep that out because that doesn't need refrigeration. But if you have a mini fridge, you could also get like sandwich meats and stuff like that. You know, make sure you have things to eat on top of going out and getting food during the convention. But we'll talk about that more later. Before you even go to convention, I also recommend looking online and looking at the con program guide. Every convention will list this, usually a week or two before the convention. The program guide is going to tell you everything you need to know about the con. What panels there are, what guests there are, what photo shoots there are, different events that you can go see, and it's going to tell you what time they are and what day they are. So you can kind of get in your head, oh, I want to go to this thing that's at this time, so I can make sure I have free time. You know, what you do is totally dependent on you. I will talk about that a little bit more in a bit. Alright, now we're going to finally get to what to do when you're at con. So the very first thing when you walk into a convention is you're going to probably be overwhelmed. Take a deep breath, keep it all locked in, you got it, and you're going to go get your badge. Most of the time, I heavily recommend pre-ordering a badge if you know for sure you will be going to the convention. It always ends up being way cheaper, and that way you don't have to wait in a super duper long line. But yeah, so you have to go get your badge. If you can't ever find a badging station, because honestly, I've been at cons where they're in weird locations. Like, you have to go deep into the convention center just to find them. If you can find a staff member, they're usually wearing bright orange or bright yellow, like construction jackets, kind of, to be easily spotted amongst the cosplayers. If you can find one of them, just say, hey, I don't know where to go, and they'll easily point you in the right direction. You know, at badge pickup, make sure you have your ID ready, whether it be a student ID, a driver's license, passport. Make sure you have it ready to go. You do have to have one of these in order to pick up your badge. Once you get your badge, you will go grab your lanyard, and that's when you can pick up a physical copy of your program book. It's the same thing that was online, but it's just in a physical copy. So after you get your badge, you know, you're gonna be kind of wondering, what do I do now? Like, where should I go? What should I see? And that's kind of up to you. So I'll talk about the different things you can go and see. I'm gonna talk about my favorite one, and that's the Dealers Hall and Artist Alley. The place where you're gonna spend all the money that you don't have on merch you don't need. I heavily recommend that you wait until Sunday or whatever day that you're there last to go into the Dealers Hall and Artist Alley. Don't spend all of your money right away. So Artist Alley is filled with independent artists. These people applied to be at these tables, and they're selling their own original artwork or creations. Some people sell handmade plushies, some people sell like cool crafting things they've made, like handmade jewelry, but most of the time you're gonna find art prints, buttons, pins, and keychains. Usually they're all fandom related, so most of the time you're gonna see whatever's popular. Like, I saw tons and tons of My Hero merch at my last con, because that's what's popular now. But it really just depends on the artist. Dealers Hall is where you find officially licensed merch. You know, this is where you're gonna find your figures, your anime, your manga, your CDs, your general merch, I guess, like lanyards, pins, keychains that are officially licensed by brands. This is the area you're probably gonna get scams out of the most money. There's something we like to call con price. The price of this merch is going to be inflated heavily for what you can find it online. However, it is legit, authentic merch. Some of this merch is out of print, and you can't just go and buy it now, so that also plays into the price. But there has been times where figures that maybe retailed for around $70, and you can still get pretty cheap other places, might be selling for $150. But you can usually find different prices online. You know, research your figures before you buy them, but that's a whole other story. Once you've wormed your way through Artist Alley and Dealers Hall, then what do you do? So next I want to talk about panels. Panels are at every convention. There are panels run by the actual convention guests, but mostly they're all convention goer run panels. These things can range from a variety of topics. Some of them are informational ones, like I've seen Intro to Lolita Fashion. You'll see interactive panels that are like game panels. Panels run by guests might be like Intro to Voice Acting, how I got started in voice acting, or things they're interested in. You know, there's all sorts of different panels. Read through the panel names on the program guide list, and if there's something that catches your eye, go read the description and see, you know, is that something that you would be interested in going in? Just check out a couple of them. Even if you're not sure 100% of it's something you would enjoy, just take a peek in. You can always leave if it's something you're not into. Later in the night, there's always 18 plus panels. Maybe if you're 18 plus, hey, some of those are hilarious, and honestly, my favorite panels I've ever been to. Along with panels, there's also anime viewing. There's rooms dedicated to just screening different episodes of different anime. They'll be listed on the program guide of what they're playing. They'll play quite a few episodes, you know, Inuyasha, Madoka Magica, My Hero Academia. They'll play anime movies from time to time, and these play really late into the night. I'm talking like whenever like everything else convention-wise is done, like the rave ends, that's when the viewing ends. There's also the tabletop room and the video game room. The tabletop room is obviously for like tabletop games. I really can't talk about it much because I don't tabletop game, but like you can play all sorts of different card games. You could go play Yu-Gi-Oh with people, you could go play Pokemon with people, you could go play Magic the Gathering with people, you know. If, like, tabletop gaming is for you and it's stuff you really like doing, head over there. The video game room is also super cool. They usually have just a lot of consoles set up to different TVs so you can play all sorts of different games. Bigger conventions have like a lot more selection. They'll have like really old retro games that are really fun, and they also bring in a lot of like Japanese arcade machines. Like rhythm games are the biggest one, and they're always like, there's always like a super big line for these, but they're my favorite. I absolutely love playing these games. It's really cool to go in there and check it out. You play all these games for free, like, and you can sit in there for basically as long as you want. Just be respectful and don't hog machines, because I absolutely hate when I'm waiting for one person to play their 7th round of DDR and haven't let anyone else try. Next is the Cosplay Masquerade. I love masquerades. This is the cosplay contest where people enter for their craftsmanship or enter different performances to perform in front of an audience. This is always held on Saturday night. If you can manage to get inside to watch, because for some of them they fill up super fast, people line up literally like an hour or two beforehand, you know, I really recommend going and watching it. They're always super duper exciting and super duper hype. You get to see all the cool cosplays people have made. Like, some of the things people can do is wild. So I definitely recommend going in and checking that out. Once we get to the late night, we have usually 2 options. Most cons have karaoke. It's exactly what it sounds like. And then the other thing is the rave. Raves are, you either like them or you don't. There's really not too much of an in-between. I absolutely love going into raves. I'm usually not somebody that likes being in loud, crowded spaces, but if you stand off on like the corner, it's really, really fun. There are some people that go to cons only for the raves. You're gonna see tons of people with flow ones, poi, hoops, pixel whips. That's me and my friends. We stand off in the corner and play with flow toys because they're super duper fun, and everyone always gets really mesmerized by flashing lights. But if you like dancing, it's always really, really fun to go in there. As long as you're not a super young one, I definitely recommend checking it out. If you're really, really young, you know, I would recommend not going in there. In fact, I don't even think they would let you in. But it can be really, really fun. The music's usually pretty good. They always have some really good DJs, you know. So definitely check it out if that's something you're super into. The last really big thing that I can think of...
Future editing Micah here. I said this was the last big thing I could think of, but I completely forgot about guest autographs. That's pretty self-explanatory and can be easily searched online. Still, sorry for forgetting.
...is meetups. So, meetups are what they sound like. They're a meetup for a certain fandom at a certain time at a certain location, and you take pics. It can be really, really fun. I almost always go to meetups if I can. I will literally move my cosplay schedule around just to go to meetups. You know, you can meet so many new people, and the best part is they all like the same thing you do because you're all cosplaying from the same thing. Even if you're not cosplaying, still, go to those meetups, take some pics, talk to the cosplayers. It's a really, really good way to make friends. So definitely go if you're not a part of it, because, you know, making friends is a really, really fun aspect. And that's what I want to talk about next. Make friends. You know, I'm a very shy person. Like, actually terrified of speaking to people at all. I kind of just, like, hide away in a corner somewhere. You know, it's actually really easy to make friends at cons. I have made almost all of my friends at cons. Like I said, the best way is meetups. You're finding people that all have the same interests as you. Like, that's right there. A perfect way to break the ice. Talk about something, you know, discuss, like, parts of the anime, discuss characters. Like, you're gonna find things to talk about. You know, if you see a cosplayer you like, you know, as long as they're not busy, go and say something to them, you know? Tell them you like their cosplay, you know? Maybe ask them how they made it or if they bought it, or, you know, just strike up a friendly conversation, you know? As long as you're not, like, impeding on them. Most of the time, most people are really, really friendly. But, you know, don't get sad if some people are kind of, like, dismissive. You know, you can't win everyone over, and if they're like that, those are not the people you want to be friends with. That's just all I have to say. Along with making friends, take pictures. I used to be so bad at this, and I'm really sad that I just don't have a lot of pictures from my early con days. I just didn't take a lot. You know, take those selfies. Get your friends in those pictures. Take pictures of other cosplayers that you think are super cool. Take pictures with other cosplayers that you think are super cool. That's always really fun too. Don't take pictures of people without their consent though. Please don't. Like, don't just like go up to somebody and take a picture. That's rude. Don't sneak a picture of someone. If you want a picture of someone, just ask. But all in all, you know, make a photo album online on your phone, you know. Even if you don't have a smartphone, I can guarantee you one of your friends probably does. You know, take pics. Get those pics. If you have a cosplay you're proud of, book those photo shoots. You know, get those nice edited photos. Like, it's so worth it in the end. You might not think it's worth it now, but in the long run, it really, really is worth it to have. That's all for, like, what to do at conventions. But, you know, there's still more things to be wary of. And one of them is staying hydrated, for one. Make sure you're constantly drinking water. Cons usually have, nowadays, safe water that you can't take the top off. That you can just go and grab a drink from time to time if you don't have a water bottle. You know, make sure you drink, and then make sure you eat. Please, I'm begging you, please eat. I know so many people that say, oh, I just won't eat, or I don't have the money to eat, I'm gonna spend it on this other thing. Food is far more important than whatever you want to buy. I'm gonna tell you that now. Eat at least one real meal a day, even if that's going to McDonald's and getting something there. Eat a real meal. You know, that's also why we buy food to keep in the room, is so you can eat that on top of a real meal and have enough energy throughout the day. You can eat a real meal in your hotel room. You know, you can have soups and sandwiches and stuff like that, and that's a real meal. I just want to make sure you actually spend the time to sit down and eat something. It's very, very important, and a lot of people skip out on it. Hygiene is super duper important. Shower every single day. If not, shower twice daily. If you're someone like me that changes cosplay at least 2 to 3 times a day, I will shower in between those cosplays. Even if you shower at night, that's fine. If you shower in the morning, that's fine. Just shower at least once a day. Wear deodorant. It's not that expensive. You can buy cheap stuff. I don't want to hear anyone's excuses for that. If you can afford to go to an anime con, you can afford deodorant. And something a lot of people don't think about is don't spray heavy perfumes in a con space. That goes with hygiene, because a lot of people think they could just cover up scents with, like, perfumes. But the thing is, some of us, aka people like me, are heavily allergic to perfumes. I use ones that I'm not allergic to, but I'm allergic to so many of them, and I really would like to be able to breathe at a convention. You know, just be wary. You know, go outside and spray your perfume if you're going to use it, you know. Just be mindful of others with that kind of thing. No one ever talks about that, so I have to. The last real thing I want to talk about is, like, being safe. Cons can be a really friendly place, but they can be scary at times. There are bad people in this world. It's not just at anime conventions, but, you know, it happens there. And so there are things you can do to help keep yourself and potentially others safe from these people that really should just not be doing half the things they do. Number 1 is never be alone if you can help it. It's just not good. Just don't be alone. Always keep a buddy with you. Keep a friend with you. You know, I hate saying stranger danger, but stranger danger. Be very wary of strangers. You know, if you ever get a weird vibe from anyone, please go, just leave. Walk away from them. Don't stay near them, you know. You're probably getting that vibe for a reason. If you're younger, I heavily recommend not going out into con nightlife, honestly. It's much more fun to stay in your room with your friends and maybe watch movies, play games, you know, do that kind of thing, than go out with a bunch of drunk people. It's just not a good place to be sometimes. Another thing is, if you ever see something severely concerning, please, please, please report it to a staff member right away. Staff is just going to start keeping an eye on them and make sure they do nothing wrong. there have just been not good instances at cons, you know, be safe, take care of yourself, stay with people. That's the biggest thing. I always worry about bad things happening. If I can prevent things that have happened to me and my friends from happening to younger people, I would really, really love to have, like, really love for that to be. I want conventions to be a fun, safe space for kids and adults and anybody who goes, you know. They're supposed to be fun, and they're not supposed to end with lawsuits and actual policemen and hospital visits and all sorts of things that have happened. The last not so dramatic an angsty note, you know, when you get home from a con, make sure you rest up, please, you know. Get yourself that extra sleep, because I know at conventions, even though we try to get all the sleep we need, we're never gonna. We're full of excitement, you know. Make sure you take lots of vitamins when you get home. Make sure you don't get sick, because chances are, I can guarantee you, after like a convention or two, you're probably gonna get sick. It's just bound to happen. There's so many people. You touch doors, handrails, all sorts of different things. Conventions, like I said, are super fun, and there's so much worth going to. My happiest times are always at conventions. Even if I do dumb things and end up crying at some point over something stupid, usually an anime boy, let's be real, you know. It's a lot of fun. So hopefully this gets you excited and ready for your next con, or if you've been to a few cons, maybe you learn things to make life a little bit easier for you. With that, I will see you guys next time, and have a really wonderful day. Love you all. Bye.